What is up, y'all? It is July 27th, and we finally have season-long props on Prize Picks. We've been waiting all summer for these. We finally got a handful to drop last night, and I think we have some really solid plays that we want to get down at Campus Canton. If you are new to Prize Picks, we have a promo code that you can use. Promo code C2C gives you up to $100 match on your first deposit. I've used it in the past. I know a bunch of people have used it. It's a great way to get involved. And we do this every single week, but we're going to focus on our season-long plays today. I got a handful to build our lineups around, build our pick 4, pick 5. A lot of good value. Let's highlight my top ones. Headed over to UCLA, Carson Steele under 900.5 rushing yards. I think there's a lot of risk with this number. And I understand why it's not closer to 1,000. That there's legitimate concern that TJ Harden might be the RB1 there. He was very involved all throughout spring, and even though they brought in Steele to be perceived their guy, Harden had a lot of first-team snaps, and I think that's concerning. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a 50-50 split in rush attempts, which makes a 900, not over 900, a big concern. I think that the safer play here is under 900. Both backs could top out at maybe 800 yards, and still you're looking pretty good. It would not surprise me if Steele had equal to or less carries than Harden, which means that I like the under 900.5 for Carson Steele. Sticking with running backs, we're going over this time. FSU's Trey Benson is only at 950, and I think this is a little bit too low, maybe by 100-ish rush yards, which is a pretty significant edge. We're talking about these numbers. Trayshawn Ward transfers out. He's off to Kansas State, and Lawrence Toafili, the RB2 there, is more of a change of pace back. Benson was not super involved last year and still managed to hit this number. Was it by like 40 yards? Yes, but he still hit it. He only had 11.8 carries per game. I expect that to go up, and I expect this team to just be a lot better. They're going to have positive game scripts in every single game. For at least 10 games, they'll be favored by 4+, 5+ points. There's 2 legit toss-ups there in LSU and Clemson, and I think if Clemson doesn't really improve their offensive line, that Florida State can run on them if possible. I think LSU is going to be a tough one, but this is a schedule that sets up very nicely for Florida State to salt away some games in the rushing attack. And I think Trey Benson is going to be the guy they asked to do that. I just don't see that happening with Toafili. So going from 11.8 carries per game to even 14 or 15 carries per game, you're going to see him hit over on this number because he's been incredibly efficient throughout his collegiate career, averaging over 6 yards per attempt no matter where he has been. And Florida State is going to be a very good team in 2023. Sticking with running backs again, they price these running backs a little bit weird. I'll be totally honest. Nicholas Singleton over 900.5 rush yards. He had over 1,000 as a true freshman on only 156 carries last season. They're going to want him more involved, and he will still split with Katron Allen. Don't get me wrong. That will probably be a 50-50 split, but he only had 12 carries per game. He only carried it more than 14 3 times. He had 16, 17, and 20. This is a player that I think they want to get more involved. He's one of the most explosive running backs in the country. He has breakaway speed. He has fantastic burst. I expect him to be a future first-round pick at the running back position. It would not surprise me if they got him 15 to 20 carries a game next year. And Katron Allen is a concern, yes, but Nicholas Singleton is that good where he can have under 20 carries a game and still provide a ton of output. If he gets 200 carries a season, he's going over this number because he went over this number on 44 less carries last year. I think this is a great value, and I would play this probably up to 1,000. I expect this number to move to 950.5 some point, possibly soon. I know a lot of our friends have played over 900.5, so get on this before it moves. Last one that I think I want to build around is this Malachi Corley number. Western Kentucky's wide receiver 1 has been awesome, really, the last couple years. 4 of the last 5 years, they've had over 1,000 yards as the wide receiver 1. Corley hit this number last year. He had 10,054 receiving yards in the regular season, and then more in the bowl game plus the Conference USA championship. But this is a low number considering David Davis and Jalen Hall were who the wide receiver 2 and 3 last year are both leaving. That's over 1,700 vacated receiving yards. That's a lot of receiving yards that are now up for grabs with this team. And I expect Michael Matheson to take a bigger step, and I expect some tertiary options to fill in. But Malachi Corley is clearly the best wide receiver on this roster, and I think this number is about 100 plus too low for him as well. It would not surprise me if he had 1,200 yards overall in the season, over 100 yards per game. He's clearly the best wide receiver on this team. He's probably the best wide receiver in the conference and one of the best wide receivers in the entire country. He's going to be an NFL rise, but giving us under 1,000 yards from Malachi Corley is just too much. I like with all the overs that we're talking about, there's always a risk of injury. And I think the only way that Corley doesn't hit this number is probably injury. It's just been such a productive passing offense under Tyson Hill. And we saw Jarrett Stearns go for 1,900 yards. Before that, Corley hit this number last year. I think it's going to be even better, and the target share is going to be even narrower. He's going to be Austin Reed's favorite target. I'm all over this Malachi Corley over 999.5. So wrap it up real quick. These are the 4 that I'm building around. There are others out there that are really good. I think the Dorian Singer number is a little bit too high at 999.5 as well. But again, these 4 are my current favorites, even though the market has moved on a bunch of other props. Carson Steele under 900.5 rushing yards. I think TJ Harden is going to be a big part of this offense. Trey Benson over 950.5. Trisha Ward's gone. Florida State's going to be a better team this year. A lot of positive game scripts going to help him out. Nicholas Singleton over 900.5 rushing yards. He's just too good, in my opinion. He hit this number last year, and he's going to be more involved just based on the fact that he only had 156 carries, average 12 carries per game. He'll be close to that 15 number, and if he's at that 15 number, he's going over this. And then Malachi Corley over 999.5. I talked pretty extensively about that one because that one just seems a little bit off. It's a number that I am fairly aggressive targeting, and if it goes to 1050, I might back off. You're playing with fire when we talk about the injury game, but he can miss a game or two and still get this over 1,000 yards. So I like that number, and I like all these plays. I think that if you're new to Prize Picks, again, use promo code C2C, deposit match up to $100. But until then, look out for our weekly plays, and let's make some money this season.